Princess Aurora. Chapter 1, The Lost Princess. Queen Seraphina was taking a walk in the forest, enjoying the fresh air and the beauty of the trees when she heard a strange sound. It was a soft whimper, coming from behind a bush. The queen approached the bush and saw a young girl lying on the ground, unconscious. The girl was wearing a ragged dress, and her face was dirty and covered in scratches. She seemed to have been lost in the forest for a long time. Queen Seraphina immediately recognized the necklace the girl was wearing. It was the symbol of the royal family, which meant that the girl must be a member of the royal family. The queen carefully picked up the girl and took her to the castle. She called for her servants to take care of the girl and asked them to clean her up and give her new clothes. The queen wanted to know who the girl was and how she ended up lost in the forest. The next day, the girl woke up and seemed to be in a state of confusion. She had no memory of who she was or where she came from. The queen tried to help her remember, but the girl could not recall anything about her past. The queen decided to investigate the matter further. She sent out her soldiers to search the forest and the nearby villages for any clues that might lead to the girl's identity. Meanwhile, the girl was given a room in the castle, and the queen looked after her personally. Days turned into weeks, and the search for the girl's identity proved fruitless. The queen began to worry that the girl would never remember who she was. But then, one day, the girl began to show signs of recognition. She looked at the queen's necklace, which had the same symbol as hers, and a faint smile appeared on her face. She said, "Amethystia. My home." The queen was overjoyed. She realized that the girl was Princess Aurora, the long-lost daughter of the royal family. The queen hugged Aurora tightly and promised to take care of her. She knew that the kingdom would be thrilled to have their princess back, and she was determined to help Aurora remember everything about her past. Aurora was given a warm welcome by the people of the kingdom, who were delighted to see their lost princess returned. The queen made sure that Aurora was comfortable and happy. She hoped that one day, Aurora would remember everything about her past and be reunited with her family. Chapter 2, The Sorcerer's Curse. As Aurora settled into life in the castle, Queen Seraphina noticed something strange about her. Aurora hardly ever spoke and seemed to be carrying a heavy burden. The queen knew that something was wrong, but she didn't know what it was. One day, while Aurora was sitting in the garden, a wise old sage approached her. He asked her to tell him what was troubling her. Aurora opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The sage knew immediately what was wrong. He told Aurora that she was under a curse. The curse had been placed on Aurora by an evil sorcerer who had kidnapped her when she was just a baby. The sorcerer had been jealous of the royal family and had wanted to destroy them. He had put a curse on Aurora, which prevented her from speaking until she found true love. Aurora was devastated to learn this. She had always felt like something was wrong with her, but she had never known why. The queen was shocked to hear about the curse, but she was determined to help Aurora. The queen called upon her advisors and asked for their help in breaking the curse. They searched the kingdom for anyone who could help them. Finally, they found a powerful sorceress who had the knowledge to break the curse. The sorceress told the queen and Aurora that the only way to break the curse was for Aurora to find true love. Aurora was hopeful, but she was also afraid. She had never been in love before, and she didn't know how to find it. The queen decided to send Aurora on a journey to discover the world and find true love. She gave her a map and a horse, and Aurora set off on her adventure. The queen hoped that Aurora would find the love she was looking for and that the curse would be lifted. As Aurora traveled through the kingdom, she met many people, but none of them seemed to be her true love. She was starting to lose hope when she met a handsome prince named Alexander. He was brave, kind, and funny, and Aurora was immediately drawn to him. As they traveled together, Aurora and Alexander fell in love. Aurora realized that she had found her true love, and the curse was lifted. She spoke for the first time in years, and her voice was as sweet as a songbird. But their happiness was short-lived. The sorcerer who had cursed Aurora had not given up. He sent his minions to kidnap Aurora and take her back to his castle. The queen knew that she had to act fast to save Aurora. She called upon Prince Alexander to help her rescue Aurora. Together, they set out on a dangerous journey to the sorcerer's castle. They fought their way through his minions, but the sorcerer himself proved to be a powerful foe. Will they be able to save Aurora from the sorcerer and break the curse permanently? Chapter 3, The Heroic Prince. As Queen Seraphina and Prince Alexander journeyed towards the sorcerer's castle, they talked about their plan of attack. The prince was determined to rescue Aurora, but the queen reminded him that the sorcerer was powerful and dangerous. They arrived at the castle at night and stealthily made their way inside. They encountered many obstacles, including traps and minions, but they managed to fight their way through. Finally, they reached the room where Aurora was being held captive. The sorcerer was there, and he had already started performing a dark ritual. The queen knew that they had to act fast. The sorcerer unleashed all his dark magic, but the queen, the prince, and Aurora stood their ground. The sorcerer's minions were no match for them, and they fought bravely to save Aurora. During the battle, Aurora was hit by a curse that the sorcerer had cast. She fell to the ground, and the prince rushed to her side. He held her close and whispered words of encouragement. His love for Aurora gave him the strength to fight even harder. Finally, it was Aurora's love that defeated the sorcerer. Her pure heart and gentle spirit were stronger than any dark magic. The sorcerer was defeated, and his curse was lifted from the land. The queen, the prince, and Aurora were victorious, but they were also exhausted. They rested for a while in the castle, and the prince vowed to never let anything bad happen to Aurora again. As they made their way back to the kingdom, Aurora and Prince Alexander grew closer. They knew that their love was true, and they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. The queen was overjoyed to see her daughter happy and in love. She knew that the kingdom would be blessed with their reign. The people of Amethystia were thrilled to see their lost princess returned and welcomed Prince Alexander with open arms. Aurora and Prince Alexander ruled the kingdom with love and kindness. They were always there for their people, and their reign was known as a golden age. The kingdom prospered, and the people lived happily ever after. The tale of Aurora and Prince Alexander's love was told for generations to come, and they were remembered as two of the greatest heroes in the kingdom's history. Chapter 4, The Final Battle. As the queen, Prince Alexander, and Aurora made their way back to Amethystia after defeating the sorcerer, they were all relieved that the curse was lifted, and Aurora was finally able to speak. However, their joy was short-lived, as they realized that the sorcerer's curse had left a mark on Aurora. Days went by, and Aurora started to experience strange visions that made her worried. She knew that something was wrong and decided to seek the help of the wise old sage who had helped her before. The sage examined Aurora and found out that the curse had left a powerful magic residue in her body. It was a mark of the sorcerer's dark magic, and if not removed, it would slowly consume Aurora's life force. The sage advised the queen and the prince to embark on a journey to find a rare flower that could cure Aurora's curse. The flower was called the silver lotus, and it was only found in the most treacherous part of the kingdom, the Forbidden Forest. The queen and the prince set out on their journey, leaving Aurora in the care of the sage. The journey was perilous, and they encountered many obstacles, including dangerous beasts and treacherous terrain. But they were determined to save Aurora, and their love for her gave them the strength to keep going. Finally, after weeks of traveling, they found the silver lotus. But just as they were about to pick the flower, they were ambushed by the sorcerer's minions. The minions had been tracking them, and they knew what the queen and the prince were after. A fierce battle broke out, and the queen and the prince fought bravely to protect themselves and the flower. They were outnumbered, and the sorcerer's minions were powerful. But they didn't give up. Their determination and love for Aurora gave them the strength to keep fighting. In the end, they managed to defeat the minions and secure the silver lotus. They rushed back to the castle, where the sage used the flower to cure Aurora's curse. The mark of the sorcerer's dark magic was lifted, and Aurora was finally free. Chapter 5, the royal wedding. After the curse was lifted, Aurora and Prince Alexander realized how much they loved each other. They spent a lot of time together, and their bond grew stronger every day. It was not long before they decided to get married. The queen was overjoyed to see her daughter happy and in love. She knew that this was the perfect time for a grand wedding celebration. She wanted to make it the most memorable event in the kingdom's history. The queen, with the help of the kingdom's best decorators, transformed the castle into a breathtaking wedding venue. The castle was adorned with flowers, and the walls were draped with colorful ribbons. There were elegant chandeliers hanging from the ceilings, and the tables were set with the finest silverware. The day of the wedding arrived, and the kingdom was buzzing with excitement. People had traveled from far and wide to witness the union of two hearts. The sun shone brightly, and the sky was as blue as sapphires. The kingdom was decorated with flowers, and the people were all dressed in their finest clothes. Aurora was a vision of beauty as she walked down the aisle, accompanied by her father, the king. She wore a stunning wedding dress that sparkled in the sunlight. Her long hair was braided into a crown, and she carried a bouquet of fresh flowers. Prince Alexander was waiting for her at the altar, looking dashing in his royal attire. His heart was beating fast as he watched Aurora walk towards him. When their eyes met, they both knew that they had found true love. The ceremony was beautiful, and the kingdom was filled with music and laughter. The royal priest led the couple through their vows, and they exchanged rings. The people of the kingdom cheered as the newlyweds shared their first kiss as husband and wife. After the ceremony, a grand feast was held in the castle's banquet hall. The tables were laden with delicious food, and there was music and dancing. The people of the kingdom joined in the celebration, and they all had a great time. As the night wore on, Aurora and Prince Alexander slipped away from the party. They walked hand in hand through the castle's gardens, enjoying the beauty of the night. The stars were shining bright, and the moon was full. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of flowers. Aurora and Prince Alexander stopped by a fountain in the garden, and Prince Alexander took Aurora's hand. He looked deep into her eyes and said, "Aurora, you are the love of my life. I promise to love and cherish you for all eternity." He then knelt down on one knee and presented her with a small box. Aurora opened the box and found a beautiful diamond ring inside. She was overjoyed and put the ring on her finger. "Alexander, I love you too," she said. "I will be with you always." The kingdom of Amethystia was filled with joy and love that night, and the people knew that their new king and queen would rule the kingdom with kindness and compassion. They lived happily ever after, and their love story became a legend for generations to come.